What's up everyone, it's Alex. Viewer question time. First off, real quick, I apologize, it's been a few days. I have been really busy, no excuse. You guys keep showing up to watch, I need to keep showing up to make videos. Moving on. Today I want to focus on a question from Charles. Charles says, I'm 6'9", I like the Kawasaki ZX10, 12, and the ZX14. Is that a good starter bike for me? Okay, short answer first, no. Longer answer, ZX10, ZX12, and ZX14 from Kawasaki are all powerful sport bikes. The ZX10, modern ZX10s are not super big anymore. They're not a very large physical motorcycle. They're very light. The ZX12 and ZX14, those are bigger, heavier motorcycles. Either way, all three of those bikes, high horsepower, powerful inline four-cylinder engines. They are all very fast. They accelerate very fast, especially with a ZX10. Things happen in a real hurry. It has a very touchy throttle. A ZX10, ZX12, and ZX14 are what I would call the opposite of a good bike for someone to start with. I have made a video in the past where I talked about large sport bikes for large people, and I've talked about the fact that something like a ZX12 or a ZX14 can be a very good option for bigger, taller riders who like sport bikes because those bikes are more spread out, they've got more room. For a bigger rider, a taller rider, they're much more comfortable to ride for longer distances than being on, say, a 600 to 1000 cc super sport, because those bikes are made primarily with the idea of racing in mind. So those bikes are very cramped. They have very close controls, very close foot pegs. They're made for smaller jockey style motorcycle racers primarily to ride. Not saying tall people can't ride 600 to 1000 cc sport bikes. Obviously, I have lots of friends that are way over 6 feet tall that have 600 to 1000 cc sport bikes just fine. You can ride it, but the ZX12s, your ZX14s, your Hayabusas, those kind of bikes are more comfortable for bigger and taller sport bike riders, but I'm saying that with experience in mind. So before you get something like a ZX12, ZX14, ZX10, GSX-R 1000, CBR 1000, Yamaha R1, insert any large sport bike here. Before you get a bigger sport bike, you need to have some experience under your belt. I understand being a bigger, taller rider and wanting a sport bike, it makes it difficult because there are a lot of really good options for smaller cc, smaller engine, lighter, better beginner sport bikes out there. A lot of those options can be very difficult for my bigger riders. When I worked in the motorcycle industry and I sold bikes, my favorite people to work with always were beginner riders, first-time riders, or maybe someone looking for their second motorcycle, because I got so much of an opportunity to help them get on the right bike, pick out the right stuff, and just the bright light and joy in their eyes and the overall joyous, fun spirit of them and the excitement of that first or second motorcycle was just always so fulfilling for me. But for the bigger riders, a lot of times I do have to break you guys' hearts and tell you the big bikes are just not good to start out with. A ZX12, a ZX14, Hayabusa, any of those large sport bikes, if you're a beginner or even really for a second bike, unless you've got years of experience, those bikes, because of the horsepower, because of the amount of torque, because of how fast and abruptly things can happen with those bikes, they can surprise you, they can get away from you, and they can punish you from your mistakes much easier than a smaller bike would be. If you're over 6 feet tall and you want a larger sport bike to start on that can be friendly enough and is not going to punish you as bad for your mistakes, I still recommend something like a Ninja 650, an SV 650, you know, ad nauseum, like I've talked about in video after video after video. I don't have to go into that again because I've done lots of videos on that. If you're just a bigger rider, please try to get like a 650 twin or something like that in the sport category. You know, think SV 650, think Ninja 650, think, you know, FZ7, or, you know, if you're not in the US, MTO7, stuff like that. Think bikes along those lines. 1000 cc plus sport bike, even though it might be bigger and more comfortable for you, it's just not going to be a good idea because it's just going to punish you too much for your mistakes. And when you drop it or something like that happens, it's going to be very expensive to repair that, okay? So no, For a bigger rider, I would not recommend a ZX12, ZX10, ZX14, anything like that. Even, at least for starters, you know, if you've got years of experience, get whatever you want. Whatever feels good, whatever you fit on, absolutely. Whatever you want, sky's the limit when you have the experience. If you're starting out and you're a bigger rider, go for one of the 650 twins or something like that that I've recommended. Please don't start with a ZX14 or something. Yes, I know I'm going to get comments because I know there's going to be viewers out there that started with a Hayabusa or a ZX14 or something crazy like that. I know you're out there, and I know there are some of you that have had a perfectly good time with it and have had no problems, okay? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the vast majority of people. I'm trying to save you a lot of heartache and tell you, if you start with a smaller bike, something less expensive, something less horsepower, to learn your skills, you will be much happier, usually, in the long run, when you get the bigger bikes and you can handle them, okay? I know there's those of you out there that started with a Hayabusa and you're gonna leave me comments telling me I'm an idiot because you started with a Hayabusa and you've been just fine. Go for it. Just don't be mean to people in the comments or I'm gonna remove it. Go ahead and tell me that you started with a Hayabusa. That's fine. That's you. Vast majority of you, please don't start with a bike that big because you will make mistakes. God forbid you get hurt. We don't want that. We want you to enjoy motorcycling. We want the motorcycling world to get even bigger. That's what we want, okay? I hope that helps. I hope it answers the question. If not, ask me again some other way, all right? I'm Alex. Peace.